Okay, so I'm going to show a short video on how to edit some lettering in your Hatch program. So we'll come up to the lettering toolbar and we will click on it and then select lettering. When we do that, over on the right side of the screen, the object property box will open up where we can create our lettering. So what I'm going to do for right now is I'm just going to leave the font exactly as the default one that came up, and I'm going to type in my first word is the name Joe. When I do that, you will see that it has appeared on the screen. To make it stay on the screen, I will hit the enter button and it has now become an object. The next word I'm going to type in is going to be the word girl. So I will just type that. Once again, I have left the font as the default one of block 2. You're going to see that it came in right on top of the previous bit of text that was already created. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and hit the enter key and it has now become a block of text. And you will see them here in the sequence bar. I'm going to grab the girl and I'm going to just move it down a little bit and we will begin to play with these two letters or two words that we have created. Now the neat thing about the software is that I can just select this and let's just say that that's not the style of font that I want. Now I could have picked it out from the drop down menu originally, or I can just begin to play with it. And let's just go ahead and maybe scroll through a couple of different fonts here so that you can see that once the object has been selected, I can just scroll on down and I can choose a variety of different fonts that might be a possibility here. The one I think I'm going to use is Curly because this is going to be a design that I want to have somewhat of a playful look for. All right, so we will keep it at Curly. Let's go ahead and choose Curly also for this one. Now we're going to notice that if we pay attention to the screen here, um, right here at the bottom, it's defaulting to curly. So there we've got our font. We can now choose these two words as individual files, and we can use the cornering tools to enlarge them, or we could make them smaller proportionally by using the corner arrows here. We could also grab a side arrow and we can stretch out that design, or we can use one of the ones at the top and the bottom and we can stretch it. We can do whatever we want using these basic reshaping tools that are part of the design. If you wanted to do further editing of these two objects, it's really a neat thing that we can do. Let's just select one of the words. Let's come up to our toolbar up at the top, and this is our reshape tool. When we select that one, we're going to zoom in on this, and we're going to see that we've got several different little symbols that are on these words. The purple one that's in the middle here, we can hover over it with our mouse. We can select it, and when we do that, it turns blue. And then we can actually move this letter to the right or to the left, overlap them. We can do whatever we want with them using those selected objects. Okay, so I'm just showing you that I'm dragging them around. And when I have dragged them around like that, they have stayed on the initial baseline, which is this right here of what was selected over in this toolbox. We are not going into that at this point because the point of this particular video is just to show some different ways that we can alter the actual sizes of these letters and how we can treat them as individual objects, even though it's part of a object that is together. It's not broken apart. It's still one unit. All right, so if we look carefully at them, we're going to see that if I have selected on this one and it's turned blue, looking carefully now, we've got lots of little symbols around it that are showing up. This one here is showing that we could elongate that particular letter. I'm going to hit the undo button. This one here in this corner means that I can skew it to the right or to the left, however I want. The one that's over here in this corner will enlarge that entire object if you notice that one, because as I said before, it's still one object. I'm going to hit the undo button. The one that's over here on the right, what it does, it just kind of transforms it. So if I drag it too far to the left, it's going to give me a mirror image of that particular letter. This down here in the bottom right hand corner is a little bit difficult to see, but it's a little circle, and what this one is a rotating tool. So I can, holding down my left mouse button, I'm just rotating that letter to give it a different angle if I should choose to do that. So you can see that with these particular little tools that I've showed you, you can do a lot to these letters that are part of one object without actually having to break them apart. If I break them apart, and I'm also going to have the ability to change the color of each letter. So, we could just grab it, we could come into our edit object toolbar, we could break it apart, and now those two letters are two separate objects. And again, if I wanted, I could change the color of one of those objects or, again, do whatever I want with them as individuals. Another thing I just want to show is I'm going to undo that recoloring, and I'm going to undo that break apart by hitting my undo button up at the top. And what I can come over here and do also is I could change the baseline of this. So if I wanted to change that straight baseline that it was currently on, I could change it to this arced one. Wouldn't have to recreate the object. It just automatically would change, and I could come in here and I could change the baseline of that just by playing around with it. There's lots of different baselines that we can choose in the lettering toolbar. We've got one here that's a free, I think they probably call it a free form one. We've got a toolbox here. And what I can do is I can actually come in here and I could right click on my box and I could move that arc manually. I could choose another one somewhere in here. I'm going to make another little toolbox and see how I'm changing that shape of that baseline. And when I do that, this letter is just moving all over the place. Lots of different ways that we can be creative using the reshape tools in the lettering toolbox. Hey, hope this gave you some creative ideas. This is Fabi Martinez. Thanks for watching the video. Bye for now.